What is it about the circus that you like?
So you feel Tilt-A-Whirl is for you. Is that... You were the sawdust spreader, and you're going to move up to Tilt-A-Whirl. Are you ready for that?
It's a lot of responsibility.
It's the Williams Brothers Podcast.
I'm Gar.
I'm Steven.
I'm Neil.
I'm Shaler.
Talking about home improvement.
Home improvement.
How to rewire your house from the pros.
Yeah, from the pros. Yeah.
We're not pros at rewiring your house. We're all pros.
I think the first rewiring project I talked about last week, which was, turning on the switch and wires catching on fire. But
That's no good.
I'm not sure if that was in there or not. That was a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Don't recommend
That
it.
wasn't advice.
No,
Guess
it was
what?
not. Don't do this.
We were talking about AI. I asked Google Bard for some good advice.
Just in general.
Yeah, I just said, what is some good advice? That's what I said. And Bard said, be yourself. Don't try and be someone you're not, because people will eventually see through it. Just be yourself and let your true personality shine through.
There you go. Good job, Bard.
Follow your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is part of life. Everyone fails at some point. Be kind to others. The world needs more kindness. Don't sweat the small stuff. Live in the present moment. Be grateful. Help others. Never give up. There it is.
That's the podcast. Thank you,
Yeah.
All
Bard.
right, that's a wrap.
If we used AI earlier, we'd have the shortest podcast on the planet.
Right.
What do you guys think about? So this is some information I heard that I think is good. It was good for me, at least. I'm curious to get your input in it. So the advice is always say yes until you have to say no.
Tina Fey has a book or article or something where she says, always say yes, because that's what you do in improv, apparently. So if somebody says, would you like to do that? Yes, and I want to do this. Because if you say yes, then you're open to whatever's going to happen, and something good could happen. But if you say no, it's just, it's gone. That's not going to, the opportunity's gone. So and there are many times when I've said no where I wish I had said yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. So this came from a Toastmasters friend of mine, and actually a Toastmaster speech, believe it or not. He's been in sales for like 40 years, a really dynamic person. And he said that in a speech, and I thought, that's interesting, because I know a lot of times opportunities will come along, and I'll think, it's probably not a good opportunity, or no, you're always looking for what's wrong with it, right?
Right.
Instead of just say yes until you have to say no, right? Because if there's a point that comes along where it's just a non-negotiable deal breaker, at least you've allowed yourself time to explore all the options.
Right. You didn't shut it off.
What other advice do we have for folks?
Dad told us one time, I'll never forget, we were sitting in the den. I don't know how many of us were in there at the time, but he said he doesn't care if we end up being garbage men, as long as we're the best garbage men we can be.
I think Grandpa said that too. I think Grandpa said, whatever you're going to be a good one.
That's good.
I like that advice. That's
They
good.
told me I had to be a doctor.
Whoops, what happened?
The heck was that, man?
Maybe that's a
We're counting on
reflection.
Gar. The rest of you, whatever you need
That's
to do.
right.
Gar's going to be a doctor, so you're all going to be okay.
And I greatly disappointed him. So
It's funny how you hear these things and then reflecting now, looking back on it, it's like all of a sudden, well, I guess you're not going to be much. So whatever you're going to be, just be a good one.
That's right. Don't have much high hopes for you. So
Right.
Anybody else got any good advice from anybody?
try not to be financially dependent on anyone. Including government, don't depend on Social Security. Don't depend on retirement checks from the military. Don't depend on those things because there's no guarantee, And so I would say that would be my piece of advice is try to be as financially independent from other people as possible.
good advice, including the banks and loans.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
If you can avoid a loan, avoid it. you know, because
Yep.
it's somebody else's money, which means they have
Yes.
some power over you, have some bit of control over you when you owe people something, you know?
Right.
And let me tell you, I wish that was a piece of advice we'd gotten early in our marriage, because no one told us how to handle money. So we had every credit card known to man, and we had a balance on every credit card known to man. And it took a while to figure out that because there was just no one there, right?
Right.
We didn't learn it in school.
You couldn't
and-
talk about it either. It wasn't something you went to mom and dad and said, you know, how many credit cards should we get? What kind of interest
Right.
rate should we have? Should we carry a balance? You know,
Yeah.
they never talked about anything. Like no money
Right.
at all would come up.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
being worried about your credit score, it's like, well, if you don't, unless you're going to borrow money, you don't really need to worry about your credit score a whole lot. So it's not like I need to have credit cards, so I have a high credit score. It's like,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
It's not really the case, but
not really.
And I think the key, from what I understood from the many things I've read, is it's okay to have a lot of credit cards and to have a lot of credit out there, as long as you don't have a balance on those things, you know?
right.
Because if you can show that, yes, I can have, you know, $100,000 in credit, but I'm not using it,
Right.
that
exactly.
that shows that you have control. And I think
I always
that-
look at it as
that
like a
really-
canyon, like it's a big hole, and you do not want to fall into the hole. Do
Right.
not put anything in the hole, you know, because you'll never get out of the hole again. And once you're in there,
Yeah.
so because we have, like, if you add up both Dawn and I, there's a bunch of credit there, but no balance to speak of.
Right.
You know,
Good.
that doesn't
That's
get
good.
paid off. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
when you're young, when you're young, that's like, you think that's money in the bank. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
you get your
man.
Sears card. But I remember I got my
Exactly.
first Sears card. I was like, I can go into Sears and just buy. So I couldn't have
Yeah.
bought it last week, but now I can. And yeah, guess what?
Nope, you
can't.
still can't buy it.
right,
That's right.
exactly.
That's right.
You got to pay
You're just
for it.
delaying the
Pay
inevitable.
for it
That's
for
right.
the rest
right.
of your life.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So one more, really good piece of advice, which I got this from a second grader, and it's great advice that applies to most every part of your life. I think every phase of your life, and it is simply this: you do you, boo. and the phrase was introduced to me. We were playing video games one night, and Jack's mom comes in and says, 10 minutes left on the video games. Okay, so it had been about 15 minutes and the game got over, and I'm like, Jack, it's time for you to go to bed. And he says, you do you, boo. So I said, well, you can wait till mom comes back in. I'm
Yeah.
going to go to bed. So
That's funny.
And at that point, Neil backhanded him.
Yeah.
Don't talk to your grandfather like that.
Don't get fresh with me, young man.
I said, So I've taken that to heart. So now when things happen, it just, comes to mind. You do you.
This is not advice, but it's my favorite quote from Cecilia, Neil's
Yeah.
granddaughter. She's playing tic-tac-toe with her dad, okay? And they're playing and it's getting intense, and she says, "What are you playing at, Greg?" She's like, "What, 4?"
Yeah.
What are you playing at, Greg?
What are you playing at? What does that even mean?
And to call
She's
your
trying to
dad
get
by his
inside his
first
head.
name, too.
Right.
That probably put him off his game,
He
too.
was trash talking him.
What are you playing at?
I was like, "Was that trash talking?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, you have no idea." That was awesome.
The worst piece of advice you've ever gotten. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
I think career-wise, I've gotten good advice and I've gotten bad advice. And I think I got some bad advice once about, people said, don't go be a recruiter. I had a chance to go and, be a Navy recruiter. And I had, don't go. It's terrible. It's awful. You don't want to do that. And I did. I actually went, and it was a great tour. I learned a lot. I learned things that I still use today, and it worked for me. So that was some bad advice that I got that I didn't didn't actually take.
And I'm glad you didn't take that advice because you recruited me, and so it worked out pretty well. 24 years
And we
in,
made goal that month, and that's why it was good.
Yeah, that's
So,
what matters. That's what
appreciate
matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Wherever they ended up sending Shaler was fine. It was as
right.
long as Neil got his
I got the Applebee's gift card. I'm good.
That's exactly right.
I'm glad I could help you out with that.
All right, thanks again, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. No sweat.
Japan was beautiful.
Yeah, right. And you met your wife there, and so
Yeah, I did.
a whole lot of good
All
things
things
happened
good.
as a
Right.
result
Oh,
of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
yes, yeah. You learned the whole Navy SEAL thing while you were over there, which we
That's
can't really
right.
talk
Learned
about.
how
Talk about that.
Kill
It's
people with your
classified.
little finger. Yep.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. It was cool. Good. The worst piece of advice I ever got, and I won't say who it came from because I have way too much respect for this person. But we were living in Savannah and we were going to move to Orlando. And I told this person we were moving to Orlando, and this person said, "This is the worst mistake you'll ever make." And I was like, wow, okay. I'm not even sure if I heard that right. And it was the best thing we ever did.
Yeah.
And in fact, I even had a college professor. He asked for a show of hands. He said, "How many of you grew up in this town?" And a lot of hands went up. And he said, "The best thing you can do is get out of this town." Not because there's anything wrong with Savannah, because it's
Yeah.
a beautiful town and I love being there. But I think any town that you grow up in, you need to move on. You need to experience new things, right? Even if you were like in downtown Manhattan and that's
Right.
where you grew up, or in Queens or the Bronx or whatever, move, go out west, go do some other things, see some other things. And so that was the worst advice I ever received. Just, this is the worst mistake you'll ever make by not moving. And my daughter actually did this. So she grew up here in Orlando, and we love Orlando. We just think it's great. And what did she do? Like the day after she graduated from college, moved to Atlanta. And she was there for like 5 years and just loved it. So great advice to move, bad advice to stay.
I have a hard time coming up with bad advice.
too.
I tend to forget it so quickly.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
You just discard the bad advice, especially if you don't take it. It's just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
whatever.
can't think of anything offhand in terms of bad advice. I'm sure I've been given bad advice. I'm sure I've probably followed bad advice, but I have no clue offhand what it
Yeah.
would be.
I just discard it. It's
Yeah.
gone.
I think my children have benefited greatly from not following advice I've given them, just because sometimes our advice kind of times out. We grew up in different generations than our kids, and so things like changing jobs and you've got to stay with the big company and don't take the risk and those kinds of things. In today's world and different situations, that advice didn't always hold true.
Yeah, Mom was real big on that. Get a job with a big company and stay there your whole life.
Right. And that was great for her time frame.
If you could, yeah.
that was the way
If-
to do it. Yeah.
And if you enjoyed the job at the big company, whatever it was, but that wasn't even
Yeah.
that wasn't
didn't
even part
matter.
of the conversation.
Right,
Right.
Just go to work.
Yeah.
And there's some big companies that can still work, like you said, if you can do that, right? There's some really big companies that people do stay there 35, 40 years. They get their retirement.
UPS. I mean, people at UPS, they're there forever.
Oh, yeah. But then there's some other big companies, big well-known companies that people join, and it's been their dream their whole life to work for this company. I'm not going to mention one of the names. And then the company just cuts them. Like every 8 years, they have this huge layoff, and 20% of the workforce is gone.
Right.
And these people that it was their dream to work for this company, they're gone.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there going, what did I do wrong?
Right.
You didn't do anything wrong. The company's a machine. It does not really care about you.
That's the thing. Yeah, a lot of these big companies, it's about the money and it's not about the people as much. And I think smaller companies have an advantage in terms of how they treat people, because and that's the thing Dad told me a long time ago, and it was wasn't advice as much as just a statement that was very factual, and that is the most important resource a company has is its people. That is the absolute most important thing. And I think that's where small companies have an advantage because they need to take care of their people. Large companies, they come and go. Everybody wants to work for them so they can lay off 20% of their workforce. And if they need more people, they'll get more people. It's not a big deal to them, so.
Yeah. Anytime you hear somebody start referring to people as assets, human assets or resources, that really bugs me. That's something that when you hear it, you're like, resources. They're people. These are people.
Yeah. Yep. I'm fortunate enough to work for a company right now that they do not and will not use the term resources, and it's frowned upon. They say team members.
Yeah.
So you never say resources. You always say team or team members or team member or something like that. Hey, another interesting this might be good advice. Want to get your thoughts on this. This isn't one I received, but it's one that I don't know, it's out there. You read about it all the time, and I think it's really good advice. It's just difficult to put in practice. Listen more, talk less.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult because people are opinionated, and so everybody wants to put their opinion in before they're actually listening. I think, and that goes through politics, that goes through, companies, everything else nowadays is you hear what somebody says, and before you really think about what they're saying, you want to put your 2 cents in, and yeah.
And it kind of aligns. There's a Stephen Covey principle that is in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It talks about seek first to understand before being understood. And so that way, if you listen more and talk less, you really have a context of what's going on. You really understand the problem. You've let that person talk enough that, I think I know what the problem is. But now that they've said this is really the problem. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I had just kind of jumped in with, what you need to do is this.
Right.
You completely miss it. And it was interesting. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was about physicians. Average time a physician waits while you describe what your ailment is before they jump in. 17 seconds.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
17 seconds on average. You start describing, my foot hurts and I got this pain and this and this and that. Boom. 17 seconds later, they know what's wrong with you.
Wow.
Or they think they do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a human thing too, because your brain is always looking for shortcuts and patterns. And I've seen this before. I've seen this movie. I know what's going to happen. And so I think when people start having a conversation so many times, you jump to the closest. I know what they're going to say. I know what the answer is already.
Yeah.
And let's move on to the next thing. And to your point, I think you miss a lot of context. You miss a lot of. Yeah, the first words I said may have sounded like this other thing, but I was really going a different direction, and you've given me a fantastic answer for a problem I may have someday, but not today.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Another piece of advice I want to get your thoughts on is there's always more to the story. And the meaning behind that is you see something on the news or you hear a story about someone and we immediately pass judgment. That's bad or that's good or that's whatever it is. But there's always some nuance to the story that's not being told.
Right.
That if you knew that, where you thought poorly of someone for a decision that they made, and then you find out this new piece of information, it's like, oh, wow, okay. Well, now I understand more about why they did that or what the situation was,
Yeah.
And I even try to use that when I listen to the news and I hear about, some politician did this or somebody did that. And you always got to think, are they evil or is there just more to there's something more to the story I'm not hearing or that someone doesn't know?
Yeah. With politics, it always seems like there's more.
Yeah.
There's always so much more going on than anybody knows.
And anytime you hear of a catastrophe of some kind or a, whatever in the news, and they always jump to conclusions right away within the first, within the first 24 hours, they've jumped to some conclusion about what has happened and how it happened. You know, I always think, let's give it 2 or 3 more days, and then we might start to see the truth of what's going on. Because, again, everybody wants to have the easy answer and jump to that conclusion as to, well, I know what happened, and this is what happened, and why, and how, and, you know. So, yeah.
I had a teacher once that talked about in the Western culture, things are very much either or. You know, it's like one way, it's good or it's bad. But then in other cultures, it's with and. So you can be good and bad. You can, you know, there's more complexity and there's more nuance. And it's not just, you know, the buckets that we tend to put things in, which we kind of talked about, politics, other things. It's good or it's bad. It's right or it's wrong.
Right.
That's like the Olympic Park bomber. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where everybody thought it was Richard Jewell,
Yeah.
and they were pretty sure it was him. It was, you know, all the
done.
evidence was there, and people were all, you know, that guy's terrible. He's a horrible. I can't believe him. He's a terrible guy.
Right.
And then it turns out it wasn't him. Nope, it was Eric Rudolph or whatever.
Yeah.
So amazing how you know, if you just jump right in, and all you have to hear is what the news says or what somebody else says, and you're angry, and
Yeah.
you know you're ready to go get him, and
The sad thing is, though, the die has been cast at that point.
Yeah.
Right?
right.
Yeah.
It's always going to be him, and
Yeah.
he's always going to have to explain why it wasn't him.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Guilty by public opinion.
So a couple other questions around advice. How often do you get advice from someone, and how often do you give advice?
I give advice if someone asks me for it.
Does that happen often?
Yeah, I mean, in little ways it happens a lot. Big advice doesn't happen very often.
Mm, yeah.
I have a 19-year-old, so I give a lot of advice.
I used to give a lot of advice to Drew.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, do whatever.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
way ahead of me. So
Right.
you can keep
I
going.
used to give advice to my kids, and now they have this thing that, you know, I'll give some great grand piece of advice that'll change their life, and they'll go, "Good tip, Dad."
It's like, I just walked off the mountain with these tablets. And it's
Right, exactly.
nice tip. Pro tip. Yeah,
Good tip, Moses.
right.
When we were in Key West, you kept saying, you know, I know what is best for my grandchildren. I can see what is best. They just won't listen to me. I know what they should do and how they should do it. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's what we all think. But
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
In terms of getting advice, I don't think I get a lot of advice these days. Nothing big. I mean, little things at work, like, hey, you know, we could try this way. Hey, that's cool. We'll try that. You know,
Right.
but nothing that's some grand, you know, nugget.
No advice on the laundry bins getting full. It's getting close to dinner time. No advice in that way.
Yeah.
Little things like, hey, you need to unload the dishwasher. Okay, all right. we got it.
Should we mount the automatic weapon onto the drone or not?
I got some advice earlier today. I was having this issue with my computer, and they told me to get this plug.
Yeah.
You can get it as a plug, apparently, and plug it into your socket in your house and tell whether there's a problem with the ground or the different wires. Make sure all the wires are connected correctly and wired.
Wow, that's
So,
great advice.
Gotta get one of those.
I'm going to try that out
That's
later.
good stuff there. I like
Yeah.
that.
It's interesting because, you know, you get advice from friends and family, but advice is also sort of an industry, right? There are companies that pay consultants and advisors and pay people to come in and just tell them, hey, what do you think? You know, so why do you think they would do that? Why do you think companies would pay for advice instead of just using what they know internally?
Because consultants are smarter than everyone else.
Right, exactly. Dad used to say, if you have a suit and a plane ticket, you're an expert. If you flew in from somewhere else and you're dressed nicely, you're an expert. And they're paying you to be there.
I think it's 100 miles. Anything outside of 100 miles.
Yeah, that's
you're
right.
an
That was
expert.
it. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
100 miles.
I think it's a different perspective right? So it kind of goes back to that old thing about growing up in Savannah and staying in Savannah or whatever your hometown is. You have a perspective on things, and it's not till you move and go somewhere else that you get a different perspective. I think it's the same thing. You mentioned consultants. I think it's exactly the same thing. The consultants are working with 10 companies or 50 companies, whatever it is, and they've seen the same thing done many different ways, sometimes well, sometimes not so well. So it's not that they're smarter than anyone else. They're just exposed to more situations.
Right. No, I agree with that.
So they can bring that expertise.
That's how it's, because I used to think, consultants, they don't know anything. What do they think they know? And then now I've definitely, having flown around and been in so many different radio stations now, in big markets and teeny markets, everywhere, you really, really do get a perspective of like what the ugliness can be, like where the poisonous, kind of situations can be, and where things can be really good. And once you get that overview, it's like all of a sudden you see, I don't know, it's just you get a different perspective on workplace and what's going on in a workplace when you come into one.
And people struggle, like smaller companies or offices may be struggling with things that, hey, there's a really simple fix. Do this, this, and this. And you're, that's over with, and you're moving on to bigger and better things. So,
yeah.
Yep.
It's good.
And it's easy, just speaking from experience, personal experience, it's easy for consultants to feel like they're smarter than everybody else when they've had more experience than these people. Right? It's not that you're smarter. It's certainly not that you're any better.
Right.
You've just had some experiences some other people haven't had. And guess what? They've had experiences you haven't had. So if the shoe is on the other foot, they know a lot about their organization. They were here they built this organization long before you walked in the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where listening helps when you first come in, because you don't come in and I'm just going to do this, and this. I want you guys to change all this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The solution for that last company won't work at this company, maybe. So
right.
You got to listen and see what is it you're struggling with? Who are the people, the personalities, the customers, all that good stuff.
See that so often too, especially, I don't know, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, you see people come into an office and want to put their mark on it, Well, I see what's wrong with this place. I'm going to fix it. And a lot of times they ruin it. They take what was special about it and blow it up,
Yeah. Or there are people there that know what the solution is just like you do, but there's some political reason why that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Or nobody asks them. So they're just there quietly working, with this information in their head. And nobody said, hey, what do you think we should do?
Right. So here's some tips on giving good advice. Something for everyone, for our many listener to think about.
The fan base.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Active listening before offering advice. Listen attentively to the person seeking help. Ask clarifying questions to gain a deeper understanding of the situation. So instead of saying, well, what you ought to do is you ask questions like, tell me what you've tried before. Tell me whatever the open-ended questions are.
What is it about the circus that you like?
So you feel Tilt-A-Whirl is for you. Is that... You were the sawdust spreader, and you're going to move up to Tilt-A-Whirl. Are you ready for that?
It's a lot of responsibility. Here we go. Be non-judgmental. So approach the situation without judgment or criticism. This is something we don't do. Communicate clearly and concisely.
No.
Using straightforward language. Simple, straightforward language. It's pretty good advice, right?
Yep.
Follow up with the person. Be supportive. Good advice.
That's all good stuff.
Good advice for giving advice.
Did you use my advice? That's the follow-up, right? I gave you good advice. Did you use my
right? Come on. Yeah.
What are you doing?
And then I've got some good advice here from the internet, so it must be true.
You really did a lot of show prep.
I did just in the 5 minutes while I was waking up and drinking coffee.
Chat GPT.
Here we go. So here's a piece of good advice. Live fast, die young.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
It's one way to do it.
I'm not quite sure about that, but okay. All right.
No? Okay. All right.
Albert Einstein said, "We cannot solve problems with the kind of thinking we employed when we came up with them."
That is good. Yes.
Yeah. It's like- Then Mahatma Gandhi said, "Learn as if you will live forever. Live like you will die tomorrow," which I think is a country song, right? Isn't there a country song like
I
that?
think so. Live like you were dying. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of country songs in that one, I think.
It's like every country song.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Twain said, "Stay away from those people who try to disparage your ambitions. Small minds will always do that, but great minds will give you a feeling that you can become great too." That's Mark Twain.
That's good.
And then finally, Eleanor Roosevelt said, "When you give joy to other people, you get more joy in return. You should give a good thought to happiness that you can give out."
Like that.
Sounds like grandmother.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got one from Marcus Aurelius. He said a long, long time ago, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone."
Nice.
That's good for Twitter and all that. You know, when everybody has to have an opinion, just to be reminded, you don't even have to have an opinion at all.
Yeah,
Was he one of the big Stoics that was?
I think so.
I think people study him now for Stoicism. Yeah. So,
and then one last one is just never let perfection get in the way of progress.
Yeah, good is the enemy of great, or great is the enemy of good.
Right. Just make progress. Don't be perfect.
Here's a good one. Before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you are a mile away from them and you have their shoes.
I like that.
That's
How
Jack
about this?
Handy.
Eat whatever you want, and if someone calls you fat, eat them too.
Children need encouragement. If a kid gets an answer right, tell him it was a lucky guess. That way he develops a good, lucky feeling.
Drinking can cause memory loss, or even worse, memory loss. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's the show.
That was a good show.
A lot of advice.
Good advice.
A lot of advice. Yes.
I did have one more here. Let me just
I got one more
find
too.
it. Let me just find it quickly. It was one that I saw yesterday. This was simply, question: my child will not eat fish. What can I replace it with? Answer: a cat. Cats love fish.
That's good. That's really good.
Mine's, I can picture in my mind a world without war, a world without hate, and I can picture us attacking that world because they'd never expect it.
The Williams Brothers Podcast is made possible by a grant from the Saunce Group. Do something good every chance you get. And by the Williams Foundation. The theme song is 5-Card Shuffle by Kevin MacLeod.
I remember Drew telling me when he was on his, when he was learning to do the nuclear stuff or whatever, he was like, yeah, if there's a pinhole in the hull of the submarine, the whole thing will flatten like a can, like a tin can. And I'm like, well, yeah, that, and you've got a nuclear, reactor on board, and people might be shooting at you. So you got those three things going for you. So it's not bad. It's
Rule
fine.
number 1, don't stick pins in the hull.
Right. No pinholes
No sharp objects
in the hull.
Check your pockets before
check
you come
the
on
hull
board.
before you stick it back in the water again to make sure there are no pinholes.
Any pinholes? Oh, we found a pinhole.
The thing about submarines that always, you always think about is they only go in like the top. I don't know if it's 20%, whatever it is. but
Yeah.
it's the vast majority of the ocean, they don't go down that far. So it's sort of like you need to stay underwater, but not too far underwater because
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you, at least.
He said when they got down, when they were doing the testing, because they do that once a year, the whole thing like creaks and you can hear the metal going, making noises and stuff. So yeah, that'd be enough for me. Let's take it back up. It's good. That's good. Let's get out of this thing.
I've seen movies. Maybe I've heard this too, that you can tie a string across the hull, and then you get down deep, and the string is no longer tight. And it's
Yeah.
It starts to bow.
It seems like a lot.
It's a little wet because the water starts dripping in.
Right.
Could be the sweat.
Yeah, bolts start going ping, ping, ping.
Right.
And then they get
all
all
the time.
clamps.
Start spraying water.
Just grab the clamp and then just clamp it. And it's fine. It's
Or you just turn the valve off.
right.
Right. I don't know what that valve did, but it's
Right.
off now. So could have been the oxygen valve, but it's okay.
It's fine.
Oh.